So last night, well, you know, there's like things in life like that are just amazing to hear. Like some chick telling you you're just eminently fuckable. Like no one's ever told me that, but if someone did tell me that, that would be like a real high point. Or you go to the it could be you go to the doctor and they're like, man, you're really healthy. And these things are just words, but they feel good. And last night, my wife said to me, you know, I'm really proud of you. And that kind of caught me off guard. My wife doesn't usually say stuff like that to me. And I looked at her and I go, what's up? She's all, because you started the podcast again and I know you really like it. And then I was thinking, man, it's weird how just these little words, like someone just saying they're proud of me, like that really, I mean, I do a lot of cool shit every day, but just my wife saying that to me was like the highlight of my day. I must have been high as fuck for like 3 hours after that. I didn't tell her, but you know, like and I just started thinking then this morning, I wonder, do you know the last time someone said that to you? Hey, Ken, I'm proud of you.
Oh, I was like, that I'm fuckable? No.
No,
I've been married for 5 years. I haven't heard that for quite a while.
But have you heard, hey, Ken, I'm really proud of you?
My wife tells me she's proud of me, but it's been a while. Yeah.
It's a trip, right?
Yeah, no, it's very powerful when someone tells you that. Yeah.
I was on a phone call with you the other day and I heard you, it was a Zoom call. There were gang of people on it. And I didn't even really know who was talking. And then all of a sudden I was just kind of like the call. I don't know what I was doing. I was kind of spacing out or writing something down. And then I heard someone say, yeah, I used to weigh 600 pounds. And I was like, what the fuck? I start looking around at the Zoom call. Like, it's like someone on this, like I never met anyone who ever weighed 600 pounds. But when I was a little kid, I was fascinated. I'm 48. So when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I was fascinated with really, really big people, really tall people and really obese people. But we didn't have a lot of obese people in California at that time when I was like 8 years old. And I remember the guys in the Guinness Book of World Records, they were the heaviest twins in the world. Have you ever seen that picture? And they would be sitting on motorcycles.
Yeah, the motorcycle guys, yeah.
And at the time I was just fascinated. And now at 48, it's I'm fascinated still, but it's when I'm 8, I bring no baggage to it. When I'm 48 and heavily involved in health and fitness as my vocation, it's like, holy shit. Like that's not good. Like
right.
that person has a long road to toe ahead of them. And so when I see that you go from weighing 600 pounds to owning a CrossFit gym, and to steal Greg Glassman's line, a place where you can cure the world's most vexing problem, chronic disease, I'm just like, and that's why I was saying I'm so excited this morning to talk to you. Like to dig into that journey is like
cool. Yeah, no, I'm glad you invited me. I'm glad to talk about it. Am I coming through okay? I was having trouble with my headsets.
You look great.
Oh,
I approve of the hat on backwards, and you sound great.
Well, I'm bald now, so I have to like kind of make up for it somehow.
How old are you?
I'm about to be 40 in August.
And where were you born?
Santa Ana, California.
Okay, so you're a California boy. And how long did you stay in Santa Ana?
So I was about 13, and then my family moved to Arizona.
And so, you own CrossFit Tempe.
CrossFit Tempe in Arizona.
Great name. I wonder if they would give you that name today, because you know they don't do.
I hear they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're stoked.
Yeah, it's like I'm not the most creative person when it comes to names and that kind of stuff. It's kind of a long story, but if you don't mind, I'll tell it to you.
Yep. About not being creative, or how you
about the CrossFit Tempe name.
Pounds to cross. Okay, go for it.
We'll get all. Yeah. Just that. So I bought it. My first affiliate was called CrossFit 602, and we were located in Phoenix. And I had a partner, and we moved to Tempe, and we decided to split ways. And I was like, well, I'm in Tempe now, and Tempe's area code is 480. So I wrote HQ, and I was like, hey, I'd like to rename my gym to CrossFit Tempe. And they replied, they're like, sorry, we don't let you name CrossFit affiliates after the cities anymore. And I replied, I'm like, listen, my partner and me just broke up. I have no creative, I'm like, I don't know what to call myself. Every name that I looked up, I like wrote this big, long, panicky email. Like, as every name I thought was cool was already taken. So I just got like a 1-sentence reply. Your request has been approved. And I'm like,
that shit works.
It worked.
I am telling you, Greg Glassman will say yes to anything. That's amazing.
I basically just begged.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, when it comes down to it, the Greg and the affiliate team, all they want to do is make the affiliates happy. But that's awesome. I would not have thought that worked. So you got hey, I want to change my name to CrossFit Tempe. Fuck you. And then you said, please, pretty please. And they said, okay.
Yeah, basically.
Just like.
And then back to, kind of comes full circle to the weight thing, because it's like I've learned through CrossFit and losing the weight that, you know, just determination and just keep trying. And even if you fail the first time, to keep going and you might succeed. You know, giving up is the only time you truly fail. So when I got that first response, I was like, listen, I'll just lay it all out and give it one last try. And I ended up getting it. So.
I don't want to forget this question. It's too early to ask it, but I'm going to ask it because I don't want to forget it. Okay. What's the most weight you ever gained back after your lowest point? So let's say we'll get the real numbers here in a second, but let's say you were at 600 and you went down to 300. Did you ever make it back up to 400 again?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of in my notes, but it is skipping ahead. But yeah, I have gained weight back. I'm at 400 now.
Okay.
And that's a long story too. So, but yes, I've gained 100 back, and I'm in the process of going back to 300 is my goal.
Yeah, good on you. So it's funny. So I had a guest on about, I don't know, 3 years ago, and she recently hit me up just out of the blue, and we were not close. She was just a guest that came and went, and she just texted me out of the blue, and she said, hey, I put on 80 pounds. And I knew what she was saying. Like, anyone to text me out of the blue to just say 80 pounds, they want me to fucking gut punch them, right? Yeah. They need a fucking, like, they're like begging for someone to slap them. Mm-hmm. So I said, hey, what the fuck are you doing? This COVID-19 thing's not a fucking joke. And the you'll be at the 90-yard line of protection if you just cut out all refined carbohydrates.
Right.
And then we went back and forth. She said, thanks for fucking the check. And then what it ends up being is like, even in my own like fitness and my own weight loss journey, and it's nothing worth talking about, but you know, everyone, even the healthiest people in the world have a weight loss journey. Mm-hmm. It's like quitting smoking cigarettes. You have to try 1,000 fucking times. Gary Roberts said it. We named the show Killing the Fat Man. I did a series on this guy who lost 100 pounds, Gary Roberts. And the name of the show is Killing the Fat Man. And he said, hey, it's a mistake. You don't ever kill the dude. You fucking knock him down the stairs and he's like, he comes back up. He's chasing you your whole life.
Basically Jason, yeah.
Yeah, he's chasing you your whole life.
It's true. And one of the things I really want to talk to you about, especially in my personal case, but I've working with people the last 8 years or 7+ years. In my particular case, like, I will always have an emotional attachment to food. Like, you hear about alcoholics and drug addicts, you're never really recovered. Unfortunately, you have to have food to survive. But when I was a kid, anytime I had a bad day at school, my mom took me out for ice cream. Anytime I got a really good score on my test or I got straight A's on my report card, my mom took me out for pizza. So even now, when I'm stressed out about my marriage or at the gym or like whatever, my first instinct, or if like we're celebrating, my first instinct is always, all right, where are we going to go eat? You know? And those are like the biggest demons for me, because I love working out. I love doing CrossFit. I love doing all that kind of stuff. My biggest demon will always be food. And
you just schooled me. I'm the world's greatest dad. I don't know if you knew that, but and I do that to my kids. Shit, I better stop that shit.
No way. It's really easy because like, and I'm not saying that obviously it doesn't happen to everybody, because lots
of some Pavlovian shit though. You're pointing out. Yeah. I mean, it's.
No, and then like my grandma used to like poke my belly and call me chubby,
Yep.
but it was like an affectionate thing. I know she wasn't trying to be mean. I know she was just being affectionate. But like growing up, my two biggest things was I always thought I was fat because my grandma always called me chubby and would poke my belly. And then my mom always took me out for ice cream all the time to cheer me up. Because my mom was going through a divorce. So
right. What's the first memory of realizing that you were chubby?
I've always thought I was chubby, like, because I was always told I was. Because my brother was always really tall and really skinny. And I'm really tall, but I'm whiter. But if I sent you a picture of what I looked like when I was like in junior high, you'd be like, what are you talking about? You're not fat. But I grew up always thinking I was fat. Like
When you was there, so it's funny, I haven't thought of this in forever. I remember watching like a kid's version of the Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy, and I was a little kid, or some game show, and I was probably like 10 years old, and the girl who was answering the question, she was cute. She was like another 10-year-old girl, and the host said, do you have a boyfriend? And she said, no, but I want one, and I really like chubby boys. And I remember thinking in my head, oh, maybe she'd like me. Right at that point, I must have, you know what I mean? I knew I was. And there's other moments like that. Wearing a t-shirt to swim parties in the 7th grade, like a jackass, and you being the only person there with a t-shirt, and you're pulling it off your rolls of fat the whole time. And
I did that. That was me. I was the fat guy in the t-shirt in the pool. Yeah.
But was there any one incident? Like, do you have an incident where you remember it, or was that grandma? Was it grandma, and you're like, oh, I'm chubby?
As far as I can remember, even when I was like 4 or 5, like I always thought I was chubby. Like,
did you eat?
yeah, that's actually a really good question. I've never really thought about when I can tell you right now, looking back at my pictures, the pictures in my memories don't line up, because like I look back at high school pictures now, I'm like, man, I was good looking. But when I was in high school, I didn't ask girls out on dates. I used to think, why would a girl want to be with a fat guy? You know, that kind of stuff. So I guess I just always had really low self-esteem as far as, and body dysmorphia, or whatever you want to call it. And like I said, I would never blame my family. It's just how we always talk to each other. Yeah.
Right. And now, if you have kids, to be even more careful, right?
That's actually, I talk to parents all the time, because it's like, me and my wife talk about having kids, and I'm like, I want to raise them responsibly with their health and like awareness of nutrition and that stuff. But then you have things like kids' birthday parties, like Halloween, Easter. Like, how do you raise kids in a world of candy and eating like crap, but still want them to have that mental mind state where they respect food?
They're so easy and so good. If you draw the boundaries, they'll never break them. Like, my kids only get cake at birthday parties. They're never allowed to have soda. Ever, never fucking ever. I would never take them out and buy them pancakes. They still don't know what syrup is, and they're 3 and 5 years old. My kids, like at the swimming pool, there's an ice cream machine. I never let them use the ice cream machine there. Why? Because we go swimming 3 days a week.
That's
and
awesome.
I know if I crack that seal once, it's broken. It's the same way you would never drink a Coke at your gym, right? You would never let your clients see you drink a Coke.
Right, exactly.
Kenneth, I'm super duper uncomfortable with my shirt off, like crazy uncomfortable. And yet I force myself to fake that shit around my kids and always walk around the house with my shirt off. And when I go to the beach, act like I'm the coolest, best looking fucking person ever. I just fake that shit and I take my shirt off, because I'm trying to make it so my kids don't know. I don't want them to have that. You know what I mean? I don't want them to have what I have, because I seen that fucking fat kid in college with his shirt off and super comfortable and pimping all the hoes. And I'm like, God damn, he's 30 pounds bigger than me, and he's the most confident, handsome, sweetest dude ever, and the girls are all over his shit.
That's all it's about, man. It's all about confidence.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, after I lost all that weight, I felt like I was the sexiest guy in the world, when I probably wasn't. But then I started, you start asking girls out when you start feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
No, but that's good to know about the pancakes and stuff. I'll
Oh,
remember that.
you just got to be vigilant. One or two times, you know, you go into a Starbucks and some other kid's there and the kid says, "Hey mom, can I get a donut?" And your kid's like, "Can I have a donut?" And you say no and they start crying and you just put the fucking hammer down. You pick them up and you walk outside and you say, "Hey, don't cry in there." And they don't. That's it. But if you crack once, they'll see the crack
Right.
and they'll wedge in there and make your life a
Kids always want to push the boundaries.
yeah. Do you have a kids class at your gym?
We just launched one during the whole COVID thing. We're doing a virtual kids class now because all the kids don't have anything to do because all school's canceled. So we just launched one for the second time. We launched one a long time ago, and it was really popular for like 3 months, and then it kind of slowly faded away. So
Yeah, that's typical of us parents. We get really into something. And then I'm like, all right, I'm tired of doing that.
I do remember that when I was a kid, like my mom signed me up for like karate for like a couple months, and then we'd do something else for a couple months. It's like, yeah.
So when does it how tall are you?
6'3".
Okay, so you're a giant dude already.
I'm a big bear. There's a reason why our gym's logo is a bear. I'm
Okay.
a big hairy.
And what's your ethnicity?
I'm half white, half Indian, Native American.
Okay. And so you're in Santa Ana till you're 13, California. You end up moving to Phoenix. You go to high school there.
Yep.
And when you graduate high school, how big are you?
I was like 225 my senior year.
Okay.
I did wrestling and football and stuff like that. So,
So you had a crazy metabolism too.
I would say
crazy.
Wrestling was probably one of the best shapes I've ever been in. I was running 7-minute miles, which is a lot for me, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was like 225 by the time I graduated. And I'm anticipating a question. I'll just skip ahead.
Yeah. Do your
my
thing.
metabolism was crazy at that time. I was eating king size Snickers, 2 liters of Mountain Dew. I could not gain weight. And then all of a sudden high school ended and I stopped playing sports and I was just going to parties and drinking. And all of a sudden I would start gaining weight. It was just weight gain after weight gain.
Like literally when you were in high school, for people who don't know, I tell them, and please stop me when I'm going wrong. You could sit down with a bowl and put a whole box of cereal in it and eat that for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And for lunch, you could have 8 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and stack of Ritz crackers and a bag of salami, right? I mean,
yeah.
There was no end to how much you could eat, right? At 225 doing wrestling and 6'3" and a growing boy with testosterone pouring out of your ears.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, and then
people don't realize how much kids can eat. It's especially big men like you. It's crazy.
I don't know. And then you go to McDonald's for dinner with your friends and you put down like a double quarter pounder with cheese and supersized fry and then you and your friends would go play basketball at night and nothing it didn't seem like I never clicked in my head that eating like shit was going to catch up to me.
Right.
And then you add beer into the equation when I was in my 20s. That shit is no joke either. Because I can probably drink 9-10 beers without it. That'd just be a typical party.
I bet you at 400 pounds you could drink Coors Lights all day and just barely keep a buzz. You could just.
Well, if we ever meet in person, I'll challenge you to a drinking contest. And we'll see how it
goes. So then you're in high school and you graduate from high school. Do you go to college or do you go straight to work or?
I went straight to work. I was done with school. I went to, I got a job as an electrician and just worked in construction for most of my 20s. And then I got an office job in my late 20s.
And is that when you hit 300?
Yeah. So when I got the office job, well, it's kind of an office job. It was half office, half out in the field fixing machines. But I was just driving around in a van. Anyway, I hit 300 around that point, my late 20s, and then I I got really depressed because all my other friends were just graduating from college. And
Does depressed mean suicidal? Like when people say that, I was like, oh, does that mean they're suicidal? Like what's depressed?
I had given up on being happy. Like I had accepted that I was always going to be fat and miserable. So I drank anything that was in front of me. I ate whatever was in front of me. I started doing drugs.
Like what kind of drugs?
Weed and cocaine.
Yeah, weed doesn't count. I mean, I don't smoke weed, but in your 30s, that doesn't count.
So I started dabbling.
Cocaine counts.
I started doing cocaine. But
did you get girls when you were on cocaine?
What's that?
Did you get girls when you were on cocaine?
I didn't get girls for most of my 20s.
All right. I mean, that's the only good thing about cocaine is like there's usually some girls in the mix.
So I went to a lot of really good parties. Yes, there was a lot of girls at the parties. No, it was more that it was just numb. I just wanted to be numb, and the coke would make me numb.
All around your weight, your personal image, all the depression and everything was around your personal image.
Exactly. I felt so ugly my entire life. It's actually the hardest part to talk about. Is just you look in the mirror and you're just so fucking disgusted with yourself, and you're like, well, nobody's ever gonna want to marry you, so you're never gonna have kids. Every time you didn't get the job or didn't get the promotion, you just look in the mirror and you're like, who would promote you, you fat ass? You know, look at you. And you just constantly just talk bad about yourself. And the only thing that ever made me feel better was drinking myself to a stupor, or, you know, doing some kind of drug, or, you know, just going to the bar and eating 24 chicken wings and downing some beer. Like, that was like my daily ritual, is just getting off of work and going to a bar and just eating chicken wings and drinking beer. And then on the weekends,
by yourself.
By myself. Yeah. And then I would just party with my friends on the weekends. So
in the quick exchange we've had, and we've never talked before this, but we did a quick text and I said to you, hey, that blows me away that you weighed 600 pounds. And you said, it was a great line. And I said, you should write a book. Sweaty, uncomfortable, and lonely.
Yeah. That described.
And I was like, wow, that's some powerful shit. I had a friend who wasn't necessarily fat, but he weighed 300 pounds. He was 6'2". He was just juiced to the hilt. Just a big old roid monster. Great dude. I love him. And he told me that when you go over 300 pounds, you have to have air moving on you at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you go to bed at night, you got to have a fan on you. He says you can't sit still. If you're just in homeostasis, you start sweating.
Yeah, dude. So at my heaviest, I had to sleep in a recliner because if I slept in my bed, my body weight would suffocate me. I would wake up
for real. Day. You're not exaggerating.
No, I'm not exaggerating. Like I could not physically breathe when I was laying on my back. I was fighting for air every freaking night trying to sleep. My back and my knees always hurt. Just walking from my car to the office, I would be drenched in sweat. Just to walk up a couple things of stairs, I'd have to hold the rail because I couldn't even get up the stairs without just being completely winded and sweaty and just covered in sweat. And then you get in the office and, oh, here's another gross. As well, since we're getting to know each other. My circulation was so bad in my legs that my calves were like this big, but it wasn't because of muscle. It was just all this fluid was building up in my calves and my shins. And eventually they would get sores on them and they would pop and there'd be a bunch of fluid coming out of my legs because there was just so much fluid that couldn't get up to the lymph nodes, you know?
And it would just come out of your pores?
It would just come out of the pores, yeah. So if I'd wear jeans to work, by the end of the day, my jeans would just be covered in this fluid.
And that doesn't help anyone's self-esteem.
That definitely does not help your self-esteem, no.
Hey, would you ever, I had this car and it was just a piece of shit. And I used to drive around and be like, and like see if I could ever. The game was for me. Could I ever find a car that was worse than mine?
Mm-hmm.
And did you ever play that game where you're like you're like, oh my god, it's been 6 months and I haven't seen a human being larger than me.
Yeah. I mean, you're very aware of everybody else's physique when you're going through what I went through. Even today, I'll walk anywhere and just kind of size up people, and not in a bad way. Like, no, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just like, am I the ugliest or fattest person in this room?
Right.
No.
That's how I feel on every Zoom call when I go on the Zoom call with all the CrossFitters. Holy shit, I'm the ugliest person on the call.
Oh my God. If I had your job being around the people you have to be around, I'd have like major, like, I don't know, body issues.
Oh, I do.
Constantly flexing, just walking around.
When you're with guys whose lats, when you're with women whose lats are when they're resting are bigger than mine flexing, it's tough. So you got this desk job, you get to 300 pounds, you're not happy with yourself, you're doubling down on the drinking, you're partying more. Did you roll joints or bong or do all the, when you smoked weed, the whole gambit? Did you have any?
Usually bongs and pipes. Yeah.
Rolling joints is fun though.
I don't have that coordination. Like,
so it's the only thing I miss about smoking. It's the only thing I really miss about college is just the rolling of just rolling stuff.
It is more of a ritual when you get to roll it. Yeah, I could see that.
So then you put on weight, and when is there a time when it really starts putting on? Like, how do you go from 300 to, did you actually make it to 600 pounds?
Yeah. I mean, well, a little bit under like 590 ish.
How do you know? How do someone weigh themselves who's 590?
Oh my God.
Could you stand on 2 scales? Does that
No,
work?
I weighed myself on so I worked in this warehouse that had like, you'd put pallets on and it would weigh the pallets. And so I would weigh myself on those things.
And where was that? Can you tell me where that was at?
It was at TRW. It was, they made airbags.
And so, and that was for shipping. Like you would have to weigh a pallet before you shipped it.
Yeah. So I had to step on a shipping scale. And
so no one would be around, and you'd be like looking both ways and shit, and then just be like, hit the tear button. You see 0 and jump on.
No, it's actually worse. My coworkers were talking shit to me, and one of them said they'd pay me $50 if I could prove that I weighed under 600 pounds. So I stepped on the scale. Yeah.
Holy shit. Did he give you the $50?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I turned into like one of those Mikey likes it guys. People would dare me to do shit. And I would, like, one time I drank an entire big ass bottle of Tabasco sauce for $50. Like, I did a lot of stupid shit just to get attention. Even though it wasn't positive attention, I would take any attention at that point.
Oh, I understand. I had a boss yell at me one time, and she goes, "I'm sorry I yelled at you." I'm like, "I'll take any attention I can." I said it. I was like, "Holy shit, did that come out of my mouth?"
It's true though. It's like when you feel so bad about yourself, like, just anybody paying attention to you feels good, even if it's not the kind of attention you really should be getting.
Did you ever have a girlfriend before you were married?
Yes, I've had a couple.
And that was early in high school?
So I had a girlfriend in high school, and then I had a girlfriend right out of high school. Then we broke up, and that's when I started really hitting the drinking. But then I didn't have a girlfriend throughout the rest of my 20s and early 30s. No, I shrunk into myself and I don't know if I would say I wouldn't say suicidal as much as I didn't care if I died, if that makes sense. Yes. Like, I wasn't actively trying to kill myself, but if it happened, I wasn't going to be upset about it.
Right.
Like, I was going to eat, drink, and do drugs, and if I didn't live to 30, whatever, I don't care, you know.
There's a friend of mine named Matt Bickle, and I don't know how much he weighs. I don't know if he ever made it to 600, but he was really big. He definitely made it to 400. And then now he's 300. Excuse me. And he was at my house and he went to go sit in a chair. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he goes, oh, I'll test it first. He made some joke about knowing the chair test, like how to test a chair.
Uh-huh.
And I'm guessing, like, I guess maybe you didn't go out much anyway, but once you start getting to 400 pounds and over, maybe even 300 pounds and over, like, you have to be careful where you sit, right? Like plastic chairs.
I feel like you've spied on my life because they're.
Well, I've just talked to a lot of people. It's a fascinating subject for me. The chair stories are always crazy. Like someone will be like, I crushed a steel chair. I'll be like, what?
One of my saddest memories is I went to, I was working at the power company. This is the last job I had before I have an affiliate was, I worked at a power company and we got invited to this luncheon. And I get there, I'm excited because, you know, I got invited to this big special event and I find out that it's outside and it's all in plastic chairs. And everybody sat down and everybody's eating. So I sit down and as soon as I sit, the plastic chair just evaporates. It just explodes and I fall to the ground. I'm like a turtle who can't get up because I'm so big. Like 2 people had to come over and pick me up.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you, dude. They brought me a chair from the inside. I don't even think I ate lunch. I just went to my work van and just cried. I probably cried for about 30 minutes straight.
Like of all crying?
Like sobbing, crying. Because I was like so embarrassed and I heard people laughing. And that was probably one of the hardest moments of my life is that one, the chair incident is something that I look back on. Even now, I'll go to like restaurants and stuff and look out in the patio and I'm like, I don't want to, even if it was the most amazing weather, I would probably still not sit on a patio just because of that one instance.
You're scarred.
I'm scarred for life on that one. Yeah.
I've heard, I'm trying to remember who told me the story. It wasn't Athena. Someone told me a story about how they were in a supermarket and a piece of fruit rolled off and onto the floor. Mm-hmm. And they knew that they couldn't pick it up because they were too fat. And they looked around and a lady saw her drop the fruit. And so now she had the social obligation to pick up the fruit. But she knew if she went to the ground, she wasn't getting up.
Oh my God.
And Athena Perez told me that she was so big that she didn't go upstairs to her bedroom for a year. She just started living in her living room.
Really?
Yeah. And
and
I hear stories like that and it's like, wow, that's intense, right? I mean, basically it's your carbohydrate addiction, and correct me if I'm wrong, your carbohydrate addiction has come to a point, it's like an alcoholic who can't go to work anymore, right? Mm-hmm. It's like hindering your everything.
You start planning your whole life around eating and not just eating. I don't know about the other people you've talked to, but I used to hide eating. Mm-hmm. So I would go out with my friends and I wouldn't eat. But then on the way home, I'd get drive-through. And then I would eat all the food in the drive-through. And then I would stuff all the wrappers in the glove box. And it really was like, you know how people, like husbands and stuff, like hide their heroin addiction or whatever from their wife?
Or their mistress.
Or whatever it is. Yeah, that was... that's basically was my life, is just not eating around other people. And then anytime I was alone, just freaking binging on food.
Yeah.
And then feeling that shame afterward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Gary told me that like, in order to be as big as he was, when your wife would announce dinner was ready, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to run to the store real quick. And then you just go to McDonald's and eat 2 hamburgers and then come home because you didn't want anyone to see how much you really needed to fuel yourself.
Yeah, for real. That was exactly me. Like anytime I had to go to dinner or anything like that, I would stop somewhere else and stuff my face. Yeah.
So, it's like that for smokers too. And it's almost like that for me with caffeine now. Like I plan my day around caffeine. It's funny because the quarantine has kind of stopped that a little bit. But anytime I was like, oh, I'm going to go over to so-and-so's house. Let's say I had or I'm going to go to work and have a meeting. Okay, I'll swing by Starbucks. Like I'm always rewarding myself like with a cup of coffee as I went down. And then when I smoked cigarettes in college, it was like that. It was just moving from one place to another to have a smoke.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could totally see how food.
It really is an addiction. It's just, and it's the hardest addiction, in my opinion. I've never been addicted to pretty much anything else, but just because you have to have food to survive. Like you'll die
always
without
gonna
it.
have to dance with the devil. Like I can tell my devil, fuck you, I'm never touching nicotine again.
Right.
But you can't do that with food.
Right. And it's really easy to fall into those traps where you're like, well, I've been so good. I'll just have pancakes today because we're all going out to brunch. And then you have pancakes, and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, that was amazing. Then the next day you're like, well, I guess I could have pancakes again today, you know. And by the way, if you haven't known, pancakes are like my biggest trigger. Like I start eating pancakes and I'll be done for the next couple of weeks.
As soon as you said it, you started smiling ear to ear. So how old are you? You get on the scale at 590 in a warehouse where there's pallets, and then it's sometime later that you're at a party and a chair breaks. Mm-hmm. What ends up being rock bottom? And are you doing any like working out during this time, or have you just stopped working out since the day you graduated from high school?
So the chair incident was my original rock bottom, because after I collected myself from being a big crybaby.
Sorry, one more thing. Did you know at that time at 590 that you couldn't stand up if you laid down?
Yeah.
So that was something you had to deal with every day in your day-to-day life. You know that if you went to prone, getting up was going to be like, I mean, could you do it?
Or would you have to lean on? It's not something that I would actively try to do because it was a process to get up off the ground. So like you got to usually it involves grabbing something else and like hoisting yourself up instead of just being able to stand up off of your own, power. So there was a way to do it. It's just something I wouldn't want to do in front of other people.
Right. Yeah. So you knew the second that chair broke, was that like one of the first things that popped in your head? Oh shit, how am I going to get up?
My first thought, pretty sure my first thought was, oh my God, I just did that in front of all these people. That was my initial thought. Then my second thought was, now I got to get my ass up. So
yeah, like if I get embarrassed, I always have the option to run. But there's
no running.
There's no running.
I guess I could have rolled away.
Okay, so that was your first rock bottom. Was there another one?
First, so I joined a typical Globo gym after that. Hired a personal trainer at like, I want to say like $60 a half hour or something like that.
So expensive.
It was very expensive. And he wasn't very good. Looking back on it.
Did he care?
He didn't really. It was the same workout every single day. It was 10 minutes on the treadmill, and then we would carry kettlebells around the gym for a couple of minutes, and then we would do some step ups. I mean, granted, there's not, when I was at my biggest, there wasn't a lot that I could do, but I would never recommend that to anybody, that experience, because I lost some weight initially, but just the repetitiveness of the treadmill or the elliptical, and then you do a couple things, and then you go sit in the sauna. Like the repetitiveness of it was so boring to me. And I would always just go hard, go for a week and then quit for a couple of weeks, go for a week, quit for a couple of weeks. I was in that cycle of, all right, I need to lose weight, but this sucks. I hate it. I hated machines. I pretty much hate every exercise in a typical Globo gym atmosphere. So I was just like, you know what? I went back after a couple months of that. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just be fat. I just reserved myself. And then
why did you get a personal trainer? You wrestled, you did football, why wouldn't you just go in there and do your own shit?
I think part of it was just, I felt like hiring a personal trainer made myself more serious.
Okay.
Like I was taking it more seriously to have a personal trainer.
Like accountability even,
Yeah,
or?
like accountability, because
But he didn't give
like
it to you.
before I had the personal trainer, I would walk in. I don't know. Am I allowed to say names of gyms?
Yes.
Okay. I would walk into the LA Fitness and I would just
Bankrupt.
okay.
No, I don't know if they
I
are.
think they are. I think they ought to change their name. I would walk around the gym and be like, all right, well, this looks cool. And I would do this, and then I would just walk around and not know what to do. Because when I was in wrestling and football, we just had free weights. We never had machines. And LA Fitness was just machines. So I didn't even, and that was, at the time, it was like 12 years before that. So I just thought having a trainer would help me better, get my results.
Okay.
But then, so after I gave up that, in August of 2012, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. And it had already, by the time she got diagnosed, it had already spread to her liver, her brain, and her hips. And so, sorry, it's kind of hard to talk about. So they told her that she was going to die. And we transferred her to hospice. And right before she went into a coma for the last time, she made me promise that I would get healthy and be happy. And she told me that she loved me and that she hates that I've been so miserable for so long. And if she could just do one thing, it would be to, she just wanted me to be healthy and happy. It was her big things. She wanted me to get back in shape and find a wife and have a family. And I was blown away because there's this woman who's in the bed. She's already lost like 100 pounds. She's like this skeleton. And her biggest concern right before she dies is me. I'm like, that blew me away. I was like, why are you worried about my health and my happiness when you're in this bed dying? And it was so powerful and so sad because I'm like, I didn't understand. I guess I never really understood love until that moment, where someone you love is dying and they're more worried about you than them. So anyway,
there's no self, right?
Yeah, she had already accepted her fate, and she was.
That's what love is, huh?
Yeah.
No self.
Yeah.
I think there are 110 podcasts I never cried.
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
Damn, that is an incredible story. And at this time, this is 2012. You're 32. You're a 32-year-old man. You're like, you're basically in your prime.
Yeah.
And you're weighing, and you're so big you can barely go through the door at the hospital.
Pretty much.
In your room.
Yeah, I was. So I never really left her side during that, and they would always give me.
Is your dad alive at this time?
My dad left when I was like 3, and I've never seen him since I was 3. So.
Okay.
Yeah. That was part of the whole, like, my grandma used to poke my belly every day because after my dad left, my mom moved in with my grandparents. So.
And you know what? A very close friend of mine told me, she's a young lady. She's 28 years old. She has 3 boys also. And she says it's so hard because when she cooks with sugar, her boys tell her she's the best cook ever. And all she wants to do is hear nice things from her boys. And she was just telling me all this stuff. And
yeah.
I wanted to give her the tough love and be like, I don't give a fuck. Don't feed your boys sugar, blah, blah. But anyway, I didn't do that. I just hung tight. And I heard her. And I think that with your mom and your grandmother, yeah, they wanted to make you feel good. Your dad fucking split. And what better way to make you feel good than to feed you nice things?
Oh, totally.
Right? I mean, sweet things. Okay. So
yeah, no,
your mom drops this bomb on you.
Yeah. She drops this bomb on me, and then she goes to sleep that night. And little did I know she wasn't going to wake up. But I was by her side at the hospice.
Do you have siblings?
I have a brother.
Okay.
Yeah. They weren't as close. I was like the mama's boy.
Okay.
So anyway, I was watching TV by her bed, and I was flipping through, I think it was ESPN, and it was those old Reebok commercials where Reebok would show like people doing box jumps and Olympic lifts, and it was like a nano commercial or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I was so blown away by that stuff because it was something I'd never seen before in LA Fitness. So I did some research about the commercial and the shoes, and that's how I found out about CrossFit, was because of that commercial, of seeing all those people doing those crazy CrossFit-y, what people say now, the crazy CrossFit stuff. I was so blown away by, and I had just made that promise to my mom, and I'm not like a super religious person or like, whatever, but I was like, I just made this promise to my mom, and then this commercial came on. Like, I took it as like this big sign. So
yeah. I've heard people say that the devil talked to them through a Simpsons episode. So to say God talked you through a Reebok commercial, I'm down.
Maybe Reebok will sponsor me after this interview.
On drugs, yeah. You weren't even on drugs. Okay,
I was not on drugs at the time. Let me just
right. So you're literally in the room with your mom after she's dropped this bomb on you. She's on she's having her last breaths, and this commercial comes on TV, and you fucking whammo.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
I love it.
It's actually really crazy to think about how my life has changed because of that one day,
Right.
So then after she passed away.
Are you a Nano 2 guy?
A Nano 2?
Yeah.
I had the Nano 2s.
But yeah. What's your favorite Nano? What's your favorite shoe? Are you a Reebok guy now, or?
Yeah, no, I love the newest, I think these are the 19s.
Okay.
But I was a devout Nano 2 guy for forever. I hated every Nano.
Me too.
They got like super narrow.
I'm Nano 2 till I die. I have like 20 pairs just in case they ever stop making them. I'm terrified. I can't wear other shoes.
The 19s aren't bad, but the 2.0s are still my favorite. Yeah. I had I went out when I Googled, CrossFit gyms near me, and I went to my first one. And before that, I bought these $300 pair of running shoes with a super squishy heel.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, I was like, yes, I'm here. I walk in and everybody's wearing the Nanos, and I'm like, what the hell? And then
This is when you first went to a CrossFit box?
That was my first CrossFit box experience. It's like, that was the first thing I noticed. Is like, I'm wearing the wrong shoes.
So you see the commercial, your mom passes away, and your journey begins like right away. You're like, all right.
Kind of. So I Googled CrossFit gyms near me, and then after the funeral, about a week after the funeral, I drove to the gym. It was CrossFit Mesa. And I pull in the parking lot, and I have this weird mind where I'm picturing just shirtless bros and girls in booty shorts doing curls, because I didn't even know what CrossFit was at the time.
Yeah, I like your image. I'm down with that.
I was picturing just buff dudes doing curls and benching. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. But I pictured walking in there and them telling me that I wasn't welcome, or them just like looking down on me. So I was like, screw this. And I just backed out of the parking lot and drove down the street. That happened. I parked in that parking lot. I'm not even exaggerating, for like a week. Like, I would pull into the parking lot, chicken out, and drive away for like a week. Because I was
very common story, brother. Ken, so common.
Is it?
So common. I just heard that story just a few months ago from a lady who works out at CrossFit HQ now.
Uh-huh.
I think she weighed 500 pounds, and she knew that walking from her car to the class was going to be more than she could handle. Mm-hmm. So she justified not even going there. And then I think one of the trainers came out and knocked on her window and said, okay, time to get out of your car. And that was her workout that day, I think. They had her walk to the box and walk back to the car, and she was done. But yeah, total common story, right? People are terrified of going in the box. I'd be terrified too. I'm terrified now when I visit boxes. No shit.
Me too. I own one, and I don't like it. I get scared too.
Where do I go?
Yeah, I was like, where can I go?
Okay, so for a week, you're pulling into the parking lot for the 10 a.m. class. Are you calling them at that time, letting them know ahead of time, or you're just going to walk in cold?
No, I was just gonna walk in. I wasn't even at the point where I wanted to let people know I was interested. I was just like, I was just so worried that they would tell me I wasn't good enough to be there.
And then would you go home and then research it some more online and do some more trolling and looking
Yeah,
and then be like, okay, tomorrow I go?
yeah, pretty much. I would every day I was driving away. I was like, okay, just go to work. We're gonna go to bed early. Then you can come. You know, tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow is always tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you made this promise. You have to keep your promise. You know, that kind of stuff. But then I walked in. I finally got the courage to walk in, and it was a good guess. You said 10 a.m. It was a 9 a.m. class, and it was all like 40-year-old moms with PVC pipes. And I walk in, and everyone came in. Even the members would come in and shake my hand, and they'd like, you know, what's your name? Welcome to CrossFit Tempe, CrossFit Mesa. The coach came over and greeted me and treated me like a person. And then I watched the class, and after the class, he explained what CrossFit was and asked me if I wanted to try it. And the next day, I went back and I tried the class, and the
With
workout
all the moms? With all the moms?
with all the moms. I was a big 9 a.m. guy because I was very comfortable working out with the moms.
For sure.
But my first workout was thrusters, box jumps, and a 400-meter run. And they scaled it to a PVC thruster where I didn't even have to squat. I would just sit in the bench. My butt would touch the bench and I'd come back up. And then I'd go on a 50-meter walk. And then I would do step ups onto a 45-pound plate. And that workout destroyed me. Like,
How much did you weigh at this time?
I was close to 600.
I
Yeah.
wonder if you're I would be willing to bet $1,000 of your money. You're the heaviest person that ever walked into that gym. And I'd be willing to bet $5,000 of your money that you're the heaviest person ever to start CrossFit.
You think?
It shouldn't be that way. And that's another reason why I need to talk to you. Everyone needs to do that. But kudos for the gym to take the challenge. Like, hey, that's how good a CrossFit coach and CrossFit gym is. We're not asking you to do anything except what human beings do.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing that I loved, is not only like I'm just doing things, the workout was just things that human beings do, which really made me happy because I wasn't going for aesthetics. I was going for health. You know, I wanted to be a healthy person. And it made more sense to me to do movements that your body was supposed to do in the real world, in the natural world, as opposed to, pec decks and curl machines and that kind of stuff. So I really dug the whole compound movements, natural movements, that kind of stuff. But I was going to say, I'm actually really happy. I was probably one of the happiest people in the world when Greg decided to focus more on the health and not focus so much on the competition side. Because I'm not going to lie, I've signed up people who've come in here and gone, I've seen the games documentary. I want to be Matt Frazier. I want to be Froning. I do sign up those people, but most of the people I sign up for are trying to get healthy. And, those are the people I want to work with, really, are the people who are trying to be healthy.
I went through that evolution. I started CrossFit at 34 and I wanted to be Miko Salo.
Uh-huh.
But now I'm on the other side at 48. I just want to be healthy. Like,
isn't that crazy though? Because I went through that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I went through that too. When I got down to 300, I was like, I'm going to regionals someday. I'm going to be a badass. Like, I had all these like delusions of grandeur, and like now I just want to have a kid and be able to play with them.
Right. It literally is like that. Like doing I don't know, maybe like if I'm following something that like a prescribed weight, I'll look at the women's weight and then I'll cut that in half.
Yeah.
Like literally. But I mean, I'll still go hard and I'll still move, and I really want, like, I'll go to a hurt place, but I am not interested in the risk of any injury. Is not even it. Like, I like to be sore. I like to be really sore. I enjoy being sore, but you know what I mean? I'm really there just to maximize a different I'm looking at the length. I want to do CrossFit my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a really good coach when I first started who would just be like, I know you can do the RX weight, but you're not going to have that intensity. And what's the point of being able to lift something once as opposed to we just want to keep you moving. Like you want that intensity and it was really, really good to have somebody who was there good at scaling. So I think I did, like you said, the woman's RX weight, like half of that was like my go-to weight for the first year. And then all of a sudden I became a competitor in my brain. And I was like, I'm RX plussing everything. I don't care if I get time cap.
This time? How old were you at this time?
When I was at my most broy, probably 35, 36.
Yeah.
I was super. It's actually really funny.
I get it.
Yeah. I like cold bar 225 clean just because I could. And I'm like, nowadays I would be like, that is so stupid.
Right.
So now I'm back to lightweight and just keep moving and, try to get that heart rate up and,
And I do a lot of the things.
What's that?
I do a lot of the things that just suck. I do a lot of burpees. I do rowing. I do the assault bike. I force myself to do rope climbs, just stuff that I can do, but it just puts you in the suck zone, but just fucking discipline, do it. Right.
Yeah. That is the one thing I need to do better at. I have been known to cherry pick burpee workouts.
You mean around them?
Yeah, I work around.
Yeah. Most people, I think, over 6 feet tall, they're not. I have a dear friend who comes to the house a lot, and there's absolutely nothing I could beat him in. He's a young man, a cop, but I think he's probably 6'6". But maybe the only thing I have a chance to beat him in is burpees, and I almost feel bad watching a man who's 6'6" do a burpee. I'm like, Jesus.
Oh my God! So my wife is 5'1", and I hate working out with her just because everything is better for her. Like we do thrusters. Like my one thruster takes like she can do 3 thrusters by the time I do one. Burpees, forget about it. Like she destroys me on burpees. The only thing I can beat her on is wall balls. That is like the only freaking thing. Even like deadlifts, she just has to like bend her knees and she's standing up. Like,
do you guys work out a lot together?
We try to, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you've got me all opened up. I'll talk to you. So when we first started dating, I would, or before we were dating, I used to coach her. And then when we started dating, I tried to coach her, and she was like, "Don't coach me, don't coach me." Like as soon as we started dating, like something happened in our relationship where I could no longer give her feedback on her cleans or her snatches. But now we've gotten back to a place where we can critique each other's movements, and it's like, it's fun again. It's finally gotten fun again for us to work out together.
I haven't ever heard. That's interesting. I've never heard anyone go through that evolution. You're the first person. I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, you should never work out with your wife. You should never work out with your girlfriend. Oh, it always leads to fights." My wife and I before we had kids, we worked out every time together. And now when I'm working out, she'll come in the garage and cheer me on. Or if I know she's working out, I'll go in there. But we never went through the phase where you couldn't coach each other. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's just because she never coaches me and I only coach her. Maybe if she tried to coach me, I'd be the one to say that.
Yeah, have her do it. It's fun.
As you crinkle your mustache. Okay, so you're at CrossFit not Costa Mesa. You're at CrossFit Mesa, and you start there. How long do you go there before you start being like, "Oh shit, this is it. I'm gonna start losing weight. I'm gonna fulfill my mom's wish"?
I lost 27 pounds my first month.
Okay, wow.
So when I signed up, they had just started a 30-day Paleo challenge, which was really good for me because, like you said, I have that carb addiction. So I went to CrossFit 3 to 5 times a week, and then I would do I killed it at the Paleo stuff. And yeah, I lost like 27 pounds the first month. And then I was like, well, shit, this stuff does work. Let's keep it going. So yeah.
And how long were you there?
At CrossFit Mesa?
Yeah.
Till I opened up my own place. So I opened up my own place in May of 2013.
So you were there a year?
Yeah, I was like there a year, yeah.
And how much weight had you lost in that first year?
I lost 150 the first year.
So you went from 600 to 450.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you take your L1?
In the summer of 2013.
So, and did you take your L1 because you wanted to open an affiliate, or did you take your L1 because you're like, hey, I just need, I want deeper knowledge?
Just because I wanted deeper knowledge.
Was
Like
that
I wanted,
scary?
what's that?
Was that scary?
The L1 as a 400-pound man was really scary. Yeah. I was definitely not the least fit in that entire group, but it was fun. I learned a lot. A guy I still talk to, Zach Forrest out of Nevada.
Yep.
He was
Love
my,
that.
yeah, he's amazing.
Amazing.
I love Zach. So much good energy from that guy.
And what a beautiful mover too. Man,
Oh
he moves good.
I hate him. He's
Yeah.
when me and my wife got married, we got married in Vegas, and he actually opened up his gym so me and my wedding party could have a CrossFit workout the day of our wedding.
God, Zach is great. Yeah.
He's just an amazing guy.
Yeah. I don't know if he's still on the L1 team, but he definitely used to be on the L1 team. And that's how I met him. And I always looked up to him.
Yeah. He taught me so much in those couple days about movement to coaching, just being a good person. Like, he's that kind of person that just you're around him for a couple days and it could change your life. You know what I mean?
Isn't that amazing? And I just love blowing the L1. So bear with me. But people think like you're going, it's a 2-day, you think you're going there for a 2-day, like, hey, to get a certificate or to learn some stuff about CrossFit, but
Mm-hmm.
you're getting this crazy cultural, what's the word? Indoctrination. You're getting, it's really not explainable. But when I hear you say that you were just there 2 days and one of the trainers there is a dear friend of yours now, or at least someone that you can even go to their gym with your wedding party. I mean, it just speaks volumes of that familial experience. It's like, it's like the best summer camp you had as a little kid, but it's a 2-day CrossFit L1. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah. The way I would describe it for me was before I got my L1, I just thought of CrossFit in the context of CrossFit Mesa. Like, I didn't think of CrossFit in any other realm other than that's my gym that I go to do these fun workouts and get in shape. And then I got my L1, and all of a sudden CrossFit in my brain became this global giant community of like-minded people, like all trying to help each other. And it's not just the workouts, it's the culture, it's the community, it's the coaching, like things that I didn't really think about before. It was just, like I said, like I had no idea. I actually didn't even know what the games were when I decided to get my L1. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's this thing called the games. It just, the world got a lot bigger. The CrossFit world got a lot bigger after my level 1.
So then and it's $1,000. It's been $1,000 for as long as I've been around, for 15 years. Was that hard for you? Were you like, oh God, $1,000 for 2 days and like real, I'm 400 pounds and like, really, is this for me? And like,
I didn't even think twice about it, to be honest. Like,
good.
I was so in love with CrossFit at the moment. Well, I still am, but I never even thought twice about the price. I was like, this is, the way I describe it to a lot of people is like the Ken you're talking to now is not the same Ken who was sitting in that parking lot before he walked into CrossFit Mesa. Like, after I got into CrossFit and started doing the workouts and losing the weight and meeting the people, like, I had this transformative experience where, like, not to jump too far ahead, but that's why I decided to pay it forward and open my own affiliate. Is my old life was boring. Like, I I felt no excitement going to the bar with my friends and eating chicken wings. I felt no, going to work became the most mundane, boring thing when it was a job I used to love. But it no longer excited me. I loved this CrossFit thing and this health thing and fitness, and like I was obsessed. I became obsessed with it. So when I heard about level ones and stuff, I was just like, take my money. I don't,
It was saving your life, and you wanted to drink even more from the fountain.
Exactly.
From this wealth that was saving your life, this wealth of knowledge. So then you take your L1, and then do you tell the owner of CrossFit Mesa, hey, thanks for the warm 1-year welcome and changing my life. I'm going to open my own box?
No, and that is probably one of my biggest regrets. Is I was worried that so I don't know if you're familiar with the valley, the Arizona Valley, but Mesa and Phoenix are like opposite ends of the valley. I opened up a box on purpose on the other side so I wouldn't even be tempted to poach people or anything like that. But at the same time, like, I was afraid that he would think that.
Right.
So I bought the affiliate, and I started the process of putting the gym together and all that kind of stuff. And eventually he found out, and then we had like I wouldn't say it wasn't a falling out. It was just more like why are you keeping this a secret from me? That kind of stuff. Which, in looking back on it now, I wish I just had the balls to be like, hey dude, I want to pay it forward. I want to open up my own gym. Thank you so much for everything you've given me. That kind of stuff. But I wasn't there mentally. It's one of my biggest mistakes.
But that's the advice you'd give to anyone who's going to open their own box. Just tell your affiliate owner, hey, you inspired me and I'm ready to pay it forward.
Exactly. And then if that happened to me, like, I already know if someone just came up to me and goes, hey, I want to start my own affiliate, I'd be like, cool. Let me tell you every mistake I made. Let me tell you, what you need to do to succeed. Don't buy jerk blocks. They're just going to sit in the corner collecting dust. I would love to help somebody. That would be the ultimate pay it forward. Helping someone open their own affiliate.
It was, it's when you were telling me the story about your mom, I was just the whole time picturing myself telling my kids that.
Right.
Because it really is like that. It's like the selflessness you get from having kids it's bizarre. You can't even fathom it. Like, I always used to wonder if my parents would dive in front of a car to protect me or save me, or like, and then now that I have kids, I'm like, oh shit, they were constantly like willing to put their life on the line for me. And I could see it now.
It's still because I don't have kids, it's such a crazy concept to me.
Yeah.
And it's still like,
I get it.
If I could talk to my mom one more time, that would be probably what I would say is like, thank you for teaching me what love is, what true love is. And thank you for taking the time to change my life by having me make that promise. Like, thank you for giving me a second chance at life.
Right. So you start this gym, and that's CrossFit 602, and you start it with a partner.
Yep.
And you regret having a partner. You should have never done that. I'm making that up. You didn't say that.
That would probably be my first advice to someone who wants to open an affiliate.
Don't have a partner.
Well, if you're going to have a partner, just realize, even if you don't, just realize the money isn't going to flow, year one. I think that's the biggest mistake that affiliate owners make, is they think, oh, I'm just going to slap CrossFit on my door, and all of a sudden I'm going to have like 500 members and we're going to be swimming in money. If swimming in money is your goal, you shouldn't open an affiliate. It should be about, like I said, paying it forward and helping people. But I feel like so many people don't realize that it takes years of a small business to grow and to see results. It's just like opening a small business is just like working out. It takes a lot of shit work and a lot of dedication and a lot of long days and long nights. And eventually you're going to see the results, but you're not going to see the results right away.
Where did you find your partner at for CrossFit 602?
He was one of my coaches at CrossFit Mesa.
Okay. So you guys start this gym together.
Mm-hmm.
And how long are you there before you part ways?
A little over a year.
Okay. And is he still in the affiliate business? Does he still run an affiliate?
No, I'm not sure where he's at, but he originally was. So when we split, he opened up a different affiliate in another city, but then he closed that one, and I think he moved to Chicago. I'm not 100%, but
Okay.
yeah.
So you leave 602 and you open CrossFit Tempe.
Yeah.
And at this point, you are 2 years into your CrossFit journey.
Mm-hmm.
You're single.
Mm-hmm.
You are how much do you weigh at this point?
I'm under 300. I'm around 280, 290.
Oh shit. So you're on your game now.
Yeah, I was feeling good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old are you now, did you say?
I was 36.
No, but how old are you now?
39.
Okay. Hey, you better stop dilly-dallying. Dude, it gets harder. I'm 48.
I was just going to say, you had a kid at like, what, 42?
No, I'm not talking about the kid thing. You can wait as long as you want to have kids. You don't hang out. If you want to be down at 300, don't hang out at 400 too long. Man, it's so hard to lose weight at 48. Woo!
Oh, I bet.
Woo! At that point, you still have a couple more years where you can work out and lose some weight. At my age, like, it's all food. It's all about the food, man. Like I eat just like, if I had 2 M&Ms, I'd fucking blow up like a balloon. It's really, the inflammation's crazy. So, okay. So you're 36 and you start your own gym, CrossFit Tempe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm talking to you right now and you're sitting there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm at the gym, yeah.
And tell me about that journey. So you open a gym. Do you have any coaches? How much does it cost to join your gym? How many members do you start with? Give me the whole.
When I was first on my own, I had 2 or 3 coaches. Yeah, I had like 3 coaches. I think we were charging $99 a month if you signed a year contract. It was like $130 something if you signed like a 6 month or something like that. That would be my other advice is know your worth, because once you start charging $99 a month, it's really hard to actually start charging, more money.
Okay, good point. Good advice.
Yeah. Yeah, we weren't charging nearly enough for what we were giving everybody. So yeah, we had 3 or 4 coaches charging about $99 to $135 a month, about 1,200 square foot facility, about 1,500 square foot facility. Yeah.
And did you have plenty of equipment? Did you have enough equipment?
Man, I had enough equipment, but then I went to the games one year and I bought a worm, and that worm sat in the corner of my gym for about a year before I got rid of it.
So 2 things: don't get a worm and don't get jerk boxes.
Exactly. That's
right,
gonna be
I like it.
It's gonna be the name of my second book after was it Sweaty Something and Lonely?
Yes.
Second book is Don't Buy a Jerk Block and Worm.
What is it? Sweaty, Uncomfortable, and Lonely.
Yeah, so that's it.
So you open the gym, and that's in 2013. You've been there 7 years, and somewhere in there, you meet your current wife.
Yeah. So
how does that happen? Tell me about her first day at CrossFit.
So we went to high school together, but then after high school, we lost. We stopped talking. We were never dating in high school. We were just friends. And then she saw me post something about, CrossFit in my gym, and she reached out to me. Actually, I was doing a Groupon, and she messaged me through Facebook, and she's like, "Hey, I always want to try CrossFit. Can I just pay you instead of Groupon? Because I know you have to pay Groupon some of the money." And I was like, "Yeah, come on in." And so her and her friend came in.
Was she hitting on you, or did she really want to try CrossFit, or both? What's the real
My
story?
theory is that she's always wanted me since high school, and
I
this was
like
her,
it. I
this
like
was her
it.
chance to get with me. Um,
What does she
no,
say? Does she say that's true or what?
no, hell no.
She's in denial.
She's in denial to this day. Yeah. Nah, she I guess she just wanted to try because her cousin did CrossFit. And so she signed up and we started coaching, and because we had a history together, we just always had this relationship. We'd tease each other even on the floor of the gym. We'd always tease each other. And I had a girlfriend at the time. So even if she threw herself at me, I would have said no. But
Did your girlfriend go to the box? Was she at your gym?
occasionally, but she really wasn't into the CrossFit thing. She was more of like a marathon runner and that kind of stuff. But we broke up, me and my old girlfriend, and me and Michelle, that's my wife, Michelle, we did a partner workout together. And after the workout, we just started talking shit to each other, laughing and joking. And this girl who went to the gym, she goes, "You guys are such a cute couple. Why don't you guys date?" And
Just
I was
like
like,
that?
yeah,
Just
I was like,
another
oh, that's
client? Just throw that on
yeah,
there.
another client just threw that out. I was about to say, maybe, and before I even could say anything, Michelle just started laughing her ass off. She was just laughing and laughing. And then she goes, "I could never date Ken because he's like a brother to me." And I was like, oh my
The
God.
brother zone.
I got the brother zone. I didn't even get the friend zone. I got brother zone. So I took that as a challenge. And then later that day or the next day, there was a birthday party, and there was a ton of people at this birthday party. This is all people from the gym. And I messaged Michelle, and I was like, "Hey, nobody showed up to the party. Can you come? Can you come? Because everybody's sad that nobody's here." And she goes, "Fine, I'll come down." So she got ready, drove in. There was like 50 people at this party. So I tricked her. And I made my move that night. I just, let her know I liked her. And, about 6 months later, we were married. We got engaged after 3 months of dating.
And is she younger than you?
She's actually a month older than me, or 3 months older than me.
And what year is this? When is this?
This was we just had our 5-year anniversary. So this was 6 years ago. So
Does it fuck up the dynamics of the box at all to have your wife in there?
So when we were dating, we kept it a secret for a really long time. Well, not really long because we were engaged after 3 months. For the first couple of months, it was a secret because we didn't want to fuck up, anything. Like when I opened an affiliate, one of my first rules were I'm not going to be that creepy guy that dates members.
Right.
I don't want to be that weird coach who's always hitting on girls, and that wasn't me. So when I first
couldn't help yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. But when we started dating, I was like, let's just see where this goes first before we tell anybody, just because I don't want to mess up the community at all. But we really loved each other, and we decided to get married, and then we told everybody and that kind of stuff. So.
And is it okay? Is it okay in the box having your wife?
Yeah, well, now she's my business partner, so yeah. But it's actually it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me because she loves doing all the things that I hate, like paying taxes and paying the rent on the building and employee taxes and payroll and all that crap.
All the stuff that takes brain power. My wife does all that stuff too. All the brain, anything with numbers and writing.
I could even tell you how much is in my bank account now. She just handles all.
Awesome.
I just give her my check. I'm like, you get everything going. Yeah.
So you're cruising along, and when we started the call, you said you were 400 pounds now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first questions I asked is, have you ever put on, after you got down, what's the most weight you ever put on? And so it sounds like the most weight you've ever put on is 115 pounds.
Yeah.
How did you get on this journey, and is it scary? And especially relating to this COVID-19 thing, like, are you freaking yourself out? Are you like, uh-oh?
Yeah, it's very scary from someone, because I know obesity is one of the things that's hits the hardest with COVID. So the weight gain is it's an embarrassing story, but I'm open to sharing it. Right before the day before me and Michelle got married, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pay the rent for the gym, because we had just lost a bunch of members. It was the lowest point in my affiliate careers. We lost a bunch of people. I thought we were going to close. I thought I didn't want her to marry a loser. So I told her that, hey, we might be closing next month and I'm broke, so you might not want to marry me. And she said that she didn't care about me being broke. She didn't care if I owned a gym. She just loved me and wanted to marry me. So so we got married, and I made her a promise that I was going to be the man that she deserves. So I ended up working 7 days a week. So let me back up. When I first started owning a gym, I sucked at sales. I sucked at marketing. I thought being a gym owner meant working out 2 to 3 times a day, having fun with everybody, coaching people. My priority was coaching people and nothing else, and having fun. That was all that I wanted to do, because I was very immature as a affiliate owner. And in real life, I'm pretty immature there too. But after I got married, all of a sudden my whole mindset changed, and I was like, you need to provide for your family. So I worked 7 days a week, 15-hour days. I made sales marketing a priority. We grew. When we got married, I had like 80, 90 members. Over the years, we got to 200, 250, 300 members. And I became a workaholic. And I was just like, I just want to be successful. And that's a selfish reason, but another reason I want to be successful is like, I want to help as many people as I can. So if I wasn't selling, I was coaching. I was either coaching or selling. Those were the two things I was doing all the time. And I never worked. I shouldn't say never worked. I went from working out 3 times a day to 2 times a day to 1 time a day to every other day. It's a slippery slope.
Yep.
So I stopped making myself a priority. Like, I put myself at the bottom, which, if based on this conversation, this whole conversation, I think you might understand that with my self-esteem issues, it's really easy for me to put myself at the bottom.
Right.
I'm a people pleaser. I want everybody to like me. I want to be successful. So my own health wasn't a concern post-marriage.
Right.
So, and it's a horrible excuse. I feel really ashamed.
No. Hey, no, you know what? That you're nailing it. The really good thing is most people don't realize it until they lose their wives.
Yeah.
A friend of mine told me, my friend Jeff Holman, he's been my friend since the 2nd grade. He one time told me that you have to put 90% of your energy into yourself, so that in that 10% that you give to other people, be completely selfless, but it will be the best 10%. It will blow people away. And it really is like that. And what you did is you filled your gas tank up for a couple years, and then you went the other way, and it sounds like spent all your shit. When really you need to constantly be filling your gas tank, right? People need to be like getting the overflow, not you draining it down to empty. No, what you're saying is smart. I think what you're saying, I don't think it's embarrassing. I think what you're saying is like 99% of the world's, I think it's the people in the United States have that problem a lot.
I agree.
They think that they're going to help other people, but they don't want to take and part of it is because they don't want to take personal responsibility. People need to take personal responsibility for themselves and then give that overflow.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you one example. I give myself all day to my kids no matter fucking what. But when I'm working out, I completely fucking ignore them. And if they step into the garage while I'm working out and get too close to me throwing weights, I'll just yell at them, stand back. And like, they'll start crying. And like, I don't talk to my kids like that unless it's that situation.
Right.
But they're going to know that 30 minutes to 40 minutes every day, like, fuck you. And I'm doing it for you.
Yeah, no.
So I love your story. I think it's like,
thank you.
Yeah, I love your story. So basically,
It's hard to. I mean, I'm glad you like it. It's just it's hard to actually say it because it's like I was so big, and then I lost all that weight, and then I didn't prioritize myself enough to where then I gained some of it back. So yeah, it's just hard to say out loud, you know.
Yeah. So and are you working out now?
Yeah, I am. Um,
Oh,
I'm
seriously.
working out a lot slower. My Fran time isn't what it used to be.
Can you do a pull up right now?
Not now, not right now. No, I used to back at the 290 mark. I was doing pull-ups and stuff, handstand push-ups.
Do you think you're going to get back to that?
I'd like to, but my main goal is just like Glassman was saying. Yes, was it yesterday or the day before? Just fucking work out every day.
Yeah.
Do something physical every day. Me and my wife went on a 2-mile walk, and I felt amazing afterward. And I was like, my mind was more clear, and I'm like, I haven't felt like this in a while, you know.
You owe
yeah,
it to her. You owe it to her too, you know.
exactly. And
She is kind of like your new mom. I mean, I don't want to get into the Freudian weird shit. No, but
right? It's funny because I tell my wife that all the time, and she freaks out.
Well, the thing is your whole life you're trying to please your parents, and then
Mhm.
if you're lucky, you have a moment of enlightenment and you realize it's not like that. You're free from your parents. But then the second you get married, it's going back to that, or have kids. Like you owe it to be. You know, there's that saying, "You are the 5 people you hang around." Well, your
Yeah.
wife's just gonna reflect you. So if you let yourself go to shit, or she lets herself go to shit, the other person will start involuntarily reflecting that. You can't do that. You owe it to her to get back in and grind. It's an
I've
inspiration
never heard it like that before. I like that. That's pretty. You become who you hang out with. Yeah.
and so you can't. I mean, if I see if I open a beer at noon, my wife will have a sip of it. If I don't open a beer at noon, my wife will never have a fucking beer at noon.
Right.
I mean, that's a really oversimplification, but really it just works like that. And so if you let yourself put on 100 pounds, you are basically signaling everyone around you that it's okay.
Right.
And as I'm not saying that for a guilt trip or anything.
Oh no,
I mean, I'm just saying we just all do that to the peer pressure that you've put on yourself by owning a gym is awesome. I fucking personally love it.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like it's almost like your job is to give people accountability, but you get it paid back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're accountable to them. And you know your clients would support you through all of it.
Yeah.
They're not going to look at you and be like, "Oh my God, you're the coach and you're fucking up." Or no one on this planet looks like anyone who's a god. And if they do, they're fucking idiots because none of us are. You know what I mean? We're all just reflecting each other's weaknesses and strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry.
No, I like it. I like that 90% selfish thing. That's kind of where I've come to in my life. I did not putting it like that, but like if I'm not selfish and put my health, I can't help other people unless I'm healthy.
Right.
Know? And I want to help. When I opened up the affiliate, my whole goal was just to help as many people until I die. And I can't do that if I die at 40,
Right.
So,
you found the elixir to life and you want to share it.
Exactly. So now my new philosophy is I just want to do a WOD every day, or maybe take a couple days off and, like take rest days, but, just move. Don't worry about the number on the weight or number on the bar. Just even a shitty time is a good time. Because another thing that I had, another problem I had is I got into that competitor mindset where you had to do weightlifting, you had to do a session of just conditioning, you had to do a metabolic conditioning session. Like in my head for a long time, I was like, I have to have 2 hours a day to work out. And if I don't have that 2 hours, then screw it, Even though through all my training as an owner or as a coach, I'm like, you just need 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day. And that's all you really need if you're eating clean and moving. That's all you really freaking need. You don't need this tons of volume. So it took me a long time to even be like, well, okay, I need to be selfish so I can help other people. I get that. But where do I find this 2 hours to work out? And then finally, like, about a month or two ago, I was just like, you don't need that much freaking time, stupid. When you were 600 pounds doing CrossFit, you just went to the gym and did an hour workout, or it wasn't even an hour workout if you take out the warm-ups and cool downs. Like, you just do the workout and then you go home and eat freaking, protein and vegetables and you'll be fine. It's so weird how, at least for me, I fell into this trap of I need all this time and volume to be successful as an athlete, and it's just my brain is an interesting thing where it goes.
Don't make the same mistake I did. Don't wait till you're injured to have that really thrown in your face. So like just your basics, just fucking idiotic shit. I was at a friend's house 2 Christmases ago on Christmas Eve, and I ate 75 cookies and 300 beers, and I just gorged myself, right, on Christmas Eve. So on Christmas morning, I'm like, I'm going to do 3 workouts today. And I fucking woke up, and the first workout in the morning, I woke up and I did some deadlifts and I tweaked my back.
Oh no.
And then it's been 2, and so that'll be 2 years ago this Christmas. But ever since then, I'm like, I'm never doing that again. That was my wake up call. Hey, jackass, I was 46 at the time. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. If you have a crazy night where you eat a bunch of cookies, you're not going to fix it by working out 3 times. Just get back on the wagon. You know what I mean? And boy, I feel so much better. But like, I was probably never nearly as competitive as you, but I did like to lift heavy weights. Lifting heavy stuff, was fun. But a couple of years ago, I just was like, it's not important. And then when I do need to lift heavy shit, I still can. It's not like I can't do it, but like I can do thrusters all day with 45 pounds and then put 95 pounds on the bar and it doesn't feel any heavier, but I still just don't do it because I'm 48 and I'm 5'5" and I just don't need to do that. I don't need to put my shoulder, my lower back. I don't need to put that stress on me anymore. Me personally.
Yeah, I think it was like I think it was Ben Bergeron. He's like, if you do competitive programming, it's not about if you're going to get hurt; it's when you're going to get hurt.
Right.
And for someone like me who just wants to be healthy and active, like all that volume and lifting heavy weight really isn't needed. You can get in amazing shape by just, like you said, 45-pound thrusters. Like, you don't need. I had to have a big ego check. Like, I'm married. I mean, my wife doesn't even know that a 300-pound clean is hard to do. So why am I trying to do it? I could do a 185-pound clean and a 300-pound clean, and my wife would clap for me just the same.
Right. That's a great point. I heard Greg say that to achieve cardiovascular health, you have to take some risk with orthopedic calamity. So basically, every time you wake up and get out of bed, the chance of injury is there. Mm-hmm. So how much more do you want to do than get out of bed? Well, the best thing you can do, as you and I both know, is CrossFit safely. Mm-hmm. And then you go to what Ben was saying. Yeah, if you drive, there's a safe zone to drive between 45 and 65 miles an hour on the freeway. If you go slower than that, you're not going to get to where you want to go. But if you go faster than that, the chance of an accident increases dramatically. And so it's like,
oh, that's a really good metaphor. I like that.
Thank you. I'm known for those.
I really like that. Yeah. I'm going to steal that.
You, at one point, well, I want to finish on this. I want to finish on the COVID thing because it's so big.
Okay.
So on one hand, it's fucking amazing you found CrossFit, because if you were 600 pounds and you get hit with COVID, you're toast. If you're worried about not being able to wake up because of your lungs being crushed under your own weight at 600 pounds, then if you get the flu, you're toast, right?
Yeah.
And now you're 400. Are you freaked out at all? Are you like, oh shit, I have to just like what's stopping you? Like if I was you and I was got really scared, I would be like, okay, I'm going to fast for 36 hours and just drink water. And then from there, I'm just only going to eat meat and fat for 21 days. You know what I mean? I would just like I would have to be scared to death to do that. But like, it's kind of like that, right? Like literally the underlying conditions, everything I'm seeing is just fucking diabetics and obese people dying. I mean, let's just say it's 90%.
Right. Well, the good news is even though like I got out of whack with my workouts and eating and I gained weight, I'm still actively doing CrossFit and I still work out. And every time I do get my blood work, like my doctors always are amazed by it because they're always like, so you're 400 pounds, but you're not diabetic, you're not pre-diabetic, your liver functions great. Like I don't know if I'm just this weirdo or just because I do metabolic conditioning, the markers are still pretty low for me. So that helps me not freak out. I am taking
You
my
have great eyes, by the way. Like you look like a fucking alert person. Do you know what I mean? You don't look like someone who's metabolically deranged. You know, like sometimes their eyes are doing some weird shit. I mean, you look like when I stare at you, I'm like, fuck, this is a healthy, you look like a CrossFitter. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm not so much worried because my markers are still pretty good. That being said, I know I need to get it down there. But I've been doing social distancing and all that stuff, so I'm not overly concerned. Besides the fact that I was telling you about how New Ken has this confidence and all this stuff. Like I don't want to live in fear. So like, yes, COVID's a scary thing and I should take it seriously and do the social distancing stuff and, not just try to hug every stranger I see. But at the same time, I'm not so obsessed with fear that I let fear control every decision I make. The best I can do for me is eat healthy, work out every day, and, hope for the best. I'm not going to like go on because I have such an unhealthy relationship with food. Like it would be really bad for me to, like you said, like go on a juice diet or proteins and fats and just,
because you would swing back the other way, you're saying?
I would
you
swing back the other way. Yeah. Like
crazy. 2 months of perfection and then fucking 1,200 pizzas.
Exactly. I would be great for a month and then I would just have pancakes and pizzas for a week. Yeah. And I try to do things the way I would tell one of my members. I would never tell a member to just, just drink juice for a month or just to starve yourself or just eat fruits or meats and fats. Like,
God, you're so much more stable than me. So much more stable. You have such a good head on your shoulder, brother.
I feel like, especially
you're like a real coach. I'm like a wannabe coach just from behind my microphone.
You should treat yourself like you would treat a client. Like, and that's how I try to live my whole life really is like, would you be talking to somebody like that if you were at the gym coaching them, like, and the whole fear thing, I feel like our whole society is just so we're frozen with fear, not just with COVID, but like everything right. Is this heightened, super heightened thing where it's like everything has to be life or death, everything's extreme. There's no moderation anymore. There's no middle ground. It's either you believe this or you're a piece of shit. You either believe that or you're a piece of shit. Even with nutrition, like nutrition is a funny thing too. Like if you're not doing keto, you're stupid. If you're not doing intermittent fasting, you're stupid. If you're not doing paleo, you're, politics is the same way. It's just, I don't know. I try to be as sensible and logical as I can because my natural tendency is to be really emotional. So I try to be introverted in a way. And like, so even like when I'm having a fight with my wife, Like she'll come to me with a problem because it's usually my fault. And then instead of just engaging right away, I will like sit there and I'll be like, okay, let's think about this, you know? And that's how I try to treat every situation in life. Like, don't respond to things with emotion. Try to use logic and reason in everything that you do. And you'll be pretty much better off because if you respond emotionally to things, like I'm sure you've done this where someone sends you a messed up message and then you type this big long fuck you piece of shit, and then like as you're like reading it, you're like, I better delete this. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So that's how I try to treat life, is like think of something, then rethink about it and make sure that it's the right course of action before you actually do it.
Some guy wrote on my Instagram account the other day. I posted a video of my kids wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
and there were 30 comments saying this is amazing, and then there was one comment, and the guy said, "Hey, you're fucking stupid. You're gonna get your kids hurt. You're being reckless." He just wrote all this shit, right?
Oh.
And I wrote this response like, "Hey, dude, you don't have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Maybe you didn't have siblings, but that's what siblings do, and wrestling's the funnest thing in the world with your siblings." And I wrote all shit, and then I erased it all. And I said something very simple, like, okay, or just, just like, I heard you.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wrote, "Hey, sorry, nothing personal, but if you're going to put your life out on Instagram, people are going to judge it." And then I wrote back to him, this is all public. I said, "Oh, it's definitely personal. It's touched a nerve with you." And he wrote back something nice. "You're absolutely right. It's touched a nerve with me." And then he explained something that happened in his childhood. I can't remember. But my point, circling back to what you were saying, I felt so much better that I took a break and let him come to terms with why he said that to me than me saying, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that, this COVID thing, or our President Trump, there are these things, they're so polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
Or women who are PMSing, they're so polarizing. When you said to me just now, you're like, yeah, you have to come at them with logic. I was thinking, but how about that one week when you can't come at them with logic? God,
I will say that there's one week a month that me and my wife fight a lot. So
yeah, it's just that 1 week. That's it. I swear to God. Yeah. I tell her, just don't go nuclear on me, because then it takes me too long to recover. But it's just, you're right. It's amazing. No one wants to be like, you could be like, what did you think about Trump this? And someone will be like, he's a fucking racist Nazi. And you're like, okay. And you're a scumbag if you like him. You're like, all right. You know what I mean? Like there's no conversation. And it's like that, I feel like, with the COVID too. Like, there's the group that just wants the vaccine and be absolved of all personal responsibility. And then there's the other side that's like, hey, this is everyone's personal responsibility to make themselves better.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately the side I sit on, but I'm able to talk to the people on the other side. I don't have to I don't have to call them a name. I don't think they're stupid for thinking that.
No, I think a good person can have two conflicting ideas in their brain and not get angry about it.
Right.
Like I feel like that's what we've really lost in society, is like, you can put two different conflicting ideas in your brain to work itself out, and and have the maturity to not lash out with anger.
Right.
You know? Because like you said, with politics, it's like, if you're a conservative, you're a racist, xenophobe. If you're a Democrat, you're a communist who's trying to take away everybody's money. Like,
right.
Middle ground.
You nailed it. That's what I think of both of those. Abortion's the same way, man. That thing deserves to be thought out every time. On one hand, you have people who think you're killing babies, and shit, man, that's a valid concern. And on the other hand, you have this thing of protecting women's rights. Totally valid.
Yeah.
How can there not be a civil discussion around it? They're both such valid points. Mm-hmm. And it's like, but no, people just want to go nuclear on you, like throw a rock at your car window or something.
Yeah. And then when you go to COVID, it's like, yeah, like you were saying, you either have to shut yourself off from society, or you have to like go back to life as normal. I mean, there's a whole middle area where we can come to some understanding. And the worst thing is, oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead. The worst thing is what? Go ahead.
The worst thing I see from a small business owner side is people who dismiss me wanting to open up the gym when it's safe as, oh, he just wants to go to the bar and get a haircut. I'm like, you know, I'm sure you've seen that, but it's like, no, there's lots of people who want to open up the economy because I spent 7+ years of my life building this small business.
What's wrong? What's wrong, Ken? You don't care about people dying? You're so
Right.
selfish. You're so selfish. You want to open your business and let an 83-year-old who's going to die next week die today?
Exactly.
Sorry. Now you know what side I fall on.
Yeah, no, I pretty much, the HQ politics has been pretty famous for a while.
Yeah. It's, none of us want anyone to die.
Yeah.
But the discussion needs to have on what's both on the scale, right? It's a scale. We've closed the economy to save X lives. Now,
Mhm.
what's on the other end of that scale? And no one wants to talk about it. How many kids are being molested at home right now? How many women are being beaten? How many small businesses are going out? How many kids aren't getting educated? Like, how many people aren't going to the hospital and dying of strokes because they're afraid to go to the hospital because they're going to get the COVID? I mean, there's all this shit on the other end of the scale.
Yeah.
To save these lives of people with underlying conditions, but no one wants to have that discussion. I mean, you and I are now, but like the politicians need to like really, I mean, is that how you see it too? It's a scale, right? There's a price we're paying right now. What is that price?
I guarantee you alcoholism is on the rise.
Thank you. I'm part of that.
Bad eating. Me too. Bad. Yeah. It's like you were saying, it's noon. I could have a beer.
I told my wife I woke up this morning, I'm not drinking today. I mean, why the fuck am I saying that at 8 a.m?
Right?
You know?
Isn't that crazy? You're like,
and then her
you have
response
to
is,
wake up in the
really?
morning and have yourself a pep talk about not drinking today.
Right. And I would never do that pre-quarantine.
Right? No, unless you're on vacation, maybe.
Right.
But yeah, so we have to decide, like, if we save every human being on the planet, but we're all back to a third world country, is that really worth it? If everybody loses their small business, alcoholism is on the rise. There's going to be more suicides, unemployment.
Horrible shit.
The food chain, the supply food chain is being broken. Like, there's a lot of shit that's going down because we're being so precautious. And when the governor shut us down, I didn't really think twice about it. I was like, okay, the people in charge say it's best for us to close our doors for a little bit, you know. But now 2 weeks became a month and a half. A month and a half turned into 2 months. And it's like, we need to get something going, you know. And we have a big gym too, so it's like we could have 10 feet of separation and still have 10 people in the gym, you know, and we could set weights.
How big is your gym?
It's 6,000 square feet.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So we could have, our commercial rates are a little better here than California.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we could have 10 by 10 squares with 10 feet in between and service 10 people at a time. It's not undoable, but the government wouldn't even let us try. It's like, they just told us what to do. Like, I could have perfect social distancing in this gym where nobody comes near each other and everybody can still work out.
And you could have a taser and shock anyone who comes close to.
That'll be my job. I'm going to sit in the rafters and just shoot anybody that comes near
like
me.
a salt gun. I want to ask you one final question.
All right.
To anyone who's listening, who's intimidated to go to a box, whether they're, for whatever reason, they're overweight, they're anorexic, they're blind, they have some issue. What advice would you give them?
Don't be ashamed of what you've become. You can't change the past. You can only make your future better. I would tell them, just take it one day at a time. Just try to get a little healthier every day. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I would tell them that CrossFit boxes aren't this scary place where it's just a bunch of super in shape people who look down on unhealthy people. It's quite the opposite. It's everybody wanting to help you and nurture you with this positive, welcoming environment. And it's saved a shit ton of lives, and it could save yours, because metabolic conditioning is the way to, you called it, the fountain of youth. It's pushes away all those chronic diseases, diabetes, all that kind of stuff, cancer. I would just tell them that there's hope. Like, you don't give up hope. There's so many people here who want to help you, and you might be able to do it alone, but the odds of you doing it alone are not as great as doing it with a community. Because there were days when even when I was in CrossFit, there were days I would just sit in the car and be like, I'm not going in today. I just don't. And like, a coach would walk to the door and just knock on my door and be like, hey, you gonna jump into this workout? That's how much the difference between a CrossFit coach and like a personal trainer at like a LA Fitness, from being on both ends, is that we care. Like, you're not just a paycheck. You're not just a number on a name tag. Like, we want to help you. We want to scale the workouts to meet where you're at, to get to you, to help you get where you want to be. Like, that's the most important thing, I guess. I'm rambling here, but I'm like,
oh, this is good. I'll interrupt you if you're rambling. Go.
I'm like, that's our job as CrossFit affiliates and CrossFit coaches. Our job is to take you from where you are and help you get to where you want to be. And it's not going to happen overnight, but we're going to slowly move you along, and eventually you're going to look back and not be able to recognize the person you used to be. So, and that was my experience. Like I said, even with the weight gain that I have now, I'm nowhere near the same person I was before I walked into CrossFit Mesa.
How proud is your mom of you that she told you to save yourself, and instead you saved yourself, and now you're paying it forward?
I feel like she would be. I hope she'd be proud of me.
Fucking dude. This is the most noble, and this is self-serving for me to say, this is the most noble profession you can be in right now. It's not a doctor. It's not a lawyer. It's not a politician. I think the most noble thing you can do right now in this society that's so fucking sick is you're basically manning a lifeboat. When I think of you as an affiliate owner and some of the stories you're telling, I have this picture of you on a lifeboat, like waving your hands over here, over here.
Yeah.
Well, I'll help you on. I'll help you on the boat. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And
and I feel like if we could figure a way out to show people their future self and make them feel how they would feel if they just gave us 6 months, then you wouldn't even have to sell CrossFit memberships. People would just be in lines just trying to give you their money.
Wow. So a machine, you point it at them, and then it gives them, hey, this is you, not only what you look like, but somehow you would transmit that feeling. Because for you, it was a feeling, right?
Yeah.
You went from a guy who was scared and wanted to hide under the covers to asking girls out. I mean, exactly. that's kind of the boyhood dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the dream you have your whole life, from when you're 7 years old and you see that first girl you have a crush on, to when maybe you're 12 and you have the courage to get told no the first time.
Get no a lot. Yeah. No, CrossFit gave me superpowers. It gave me the ability to talk to girls. So, and honestly, like, even when people come into the gym and they're like, I want to lose 20 pounds, what they're really saying to you is, I want to feel good about myself. I want to feel good in my skin. I want to feel good naked. I want to go to that pool party in July and not have people snicker at me, or at least think people are snickering at me.
Right.
There's always like this, like, people tell you what they want, and that's a very superficial want. But then if you keep digging and digging and digging, you'll eventually come to the core of what they really want. And what they really want is, like I said, to unlock their full potential, feel confident, feel good about themselves, feel, feel comfortable in their own skin, feel good naked. Like, and then obviously people, especially in our 40s, like we look at, how our grandparents were when they were 50, 60 years old. And you're like, I don't want to be like that, So for a lot of people who come to my gym, it's like, people are like, listen, I'm about to be a grandma, but I want to be a cool grandma that can play with them and not just be in the corner on a respirator.
Right.
So it's like, they want that fountain of youth. So it's not even like, I would say it's not even health. It's not even healthy. They say they want to be healthy, but they're in their mind, they're like scared shitless that they're going to be like their grandma who was on a ventilator in a wheelchair. And they're like, hell no, I don't want to be that person. I want to be that fun grandma that took their kids mountain climbing. That's the feeling that they want. It's not necessarily, health, even though health is important.
Right. It's cool that you're using the grandma. So when you're 20, it's not that you want to lose 20 pounds. It's that you want to get a girlfriend. And when you're 70, it's, hey, I want to be able to play with my grandkids. It's not you want to lose weight. It's, hey, I want to play with my grandkids. There is always that. You're right. There's something you want to do with that new you that you don't feel like you can do now.
Exactly. Yeah. And the cool thing about CrossFit is the methodology and the programming accommodates your why, regardless if you're 15 or 70. Like everything that we do in these affiliates can help a 30-year-old trying to lose 50 pounds. It can help a 20-year-old get the girl. It can help the 70-year-old play with their grandkids.
It can give the pro football player his 13th year in the NFL.
Exactly.
Right. All of it. Everything.
And it is a really, if you sit and think, it is such an amazing methodology and concept that regardless of your why or your past, we can help you with your future. Wherever you want to go, this programming and this coaching is going to work for that. And it's a powerful thing. And that's the reason I get up every day is I get to be that guy to help people's futures.
I like that as an ending.
I like it too.
Ken, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This has been fun. This is my first ever thing like this. So I hope
your next thing
I give you something to use.
Yeah, it's great. People are going to love this. Your next thing is to be a motivational speaker.
Okay. You're my new agent. Book me some tours.
All right, brother. I'll see you around. Thank you so much.
All right. So talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Bye.